Welcome to the Critically Curious. I'm TheMonk, and today we are in Gears Tactics. This video is all about my top 10 tips for this game. Now, I've played a few hours of this game. I really have enjoyed this game. Marty himself is going to be doing a review on this game and covering it a little bit more than me, but I wanted to get one video out there and just give you my top 10 tips that I found in this game in my playthrough. So, without further ado, let's get stuck into tip 1. Loot crates. They are in this game. You can find them in different varieties, whether they're common, rare or legendary. You can get different upgrades for your armor and weapons. They are definitely worth grabbing. It's important to note that sometimes the mission will end without reaching the objective point. It will just end because you've killed all the bad guys, and therefore any crates that you haven't picked up you won't have a chance to get. And every single level seems to have at least 2 crates, so make sure you make them a priority to actually seek out and get, because there is some really awesome gear inside them, and I really wouldn't want you guys to actually miss out. Tip 2 is squad composition. Now, in Gears Tactics, you only run with a few soldiers, but in your squad, you get to mix and match the different classes that you want. Now, you can recruit extra soldiers that you actually find in missions. The soldiers that you rescue in missions, they stay around for around 2 missions, and you can decide whether you want them or not. Now, after every single mission that you complete, you will get a brand new lot of recruitable soldiers that you can actually have, but make sure you pick them quickly, because they will not stay around forever. And it's a really good idea to have probably 2 of every class, because unfortunately you can't always count on having your heroes. Tip number 3, don't sleep on grenades. Oh my god, they are so overpowered in this game. They're unlimited. Yes, you get a cooldown after using them, but you can have like 3 members of your team actually running frag grenades. You could have 4 members if you really wanted to, and they are so powerful and will very quickly annihilate a group of enemies. And in this game, they do like to bunch up. Therefore, it's incredibly useful. Tip number 4 is the classic Overwatch. It is in Gears Tactics as well. We all know Overwatch in these kind of tactics games. It's in pretty much every single game, and just like every single game, it's definitely useful. Depending on how many AP you leave your soldier in Overwatch, depends on how many times they will shoot on the incoming enemies. Now, it's an interesting one, because I'm pretty sure the AI know you're in Overwatch, but they're still going to run into your line of sight. It kind of sucks. You can also see when the enemy is in Overwatch as well, so you can plan for that too. I think that's a bit silly. I don't think you should be able to see the AI cone of Overwatch, but you do, and it is what it is. But don't sleep on Overwatch. You can make up some really interesting kill traps, and Overwatch can pretty much win you the game if you play it right, so definitely don't sleep on that. Now, tip number 5 is kind of an obvious one, but it goes hand in hand with the Overwatch. Make sure you reload. There is no point in putting your characters into Overwatch with 3 AP left if you can only fire once. So check on your screen to see if you've got enough bullets, and just make sure you reload regularly, because it's an oversight that can be costly. Now, it does go over this at the beginning of the game. But tip number 6 is make sure you get rid of those emergent holes as early as possible, because they will keep pumping out enemies every single turn, or until they run out of enemies and a new one will probably pop up. One quick grenade gets rid of them. It's really simple, and it's really useful to make sure you do it nice and early, especially on the harder difficulties. Otherwise, you can find you'll get into a tricky situation you could have otherwise avoided. Tip number 7, executions. Now, it goes without saying that execution is always fun, and you get a pretty cool little animation to boot as well. But executions can be really, really useful. Again, in the harder difficulties, it really helps because it gives it a little bit of a boost to everyone in the party. It gives you one more AP, and considering you only start with 3 AP, it's a really massive boost. Sometimes, if you spec your characters right, you'll also get additional bonuses for an execution. So make sure you do it because at the end of the day, there's no reason not to. Tip number 8. So make sure you revive your downed players as soon as possible. Unfortunately, things are going to happen, especially on the harder difficulties. Your players are going to get downed, whether it's a fault of your own or just the fact that the level is really difficult. Don't think that you can finish off these enemies and then have time to revive your ally after, because at the end of the day, you don't know how many more enemies are going to spawn in. You might get into a situation where you're going to regret not reviving them then and there. These characters do get something called Second Wind, which is a self-revive feature, which is really, really handy. But maybe hold off on using it when you don't have to, because some of these levels can get really tricky, especially late in the game. Tip number 9 is a pretty simple one really. Pick your side missions well. So as you progress through the storyline, you will be given side missions where you can, go on whichever one you choose you want. Different side missions give you different rewards. So look at what you're actually going to get. Unfortunately, you're not always going to be able to complete every single side mission the game offers you. So seriously, read before you click and make sure you pick the one that best suits your needs. And lastly, tip number 10 is to make sure you remember that you've got more than one weapon. Now, there are different types of assault rifle. There's a sniper, there's a shotgun, but every character that you control has a sidearm as well, which is really, really useful for disabling enemy Overwatch. Now, 9 times out of 10, I'll probably just use Jax anyway, run him into it, trigger the Overwatch, hey bosh bish bango, no more Overwatch, so it's handy for me. But that pistol can come in seriously handy, and every now and again you get an absolute mega crit from it. So don't sleep on it. It's a good idea sometimes just to switch to disable the Overwatch and get on with another attack. Anyway, from me, that is my top 10 tips. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, and of course don't forget to subscribe to the channel, that way you don't miss out on more content just like this. I've been a Monk, and we've been a Critically Clueless, and guys, I'll catch you on the next one real soon.